All right, so y'all remember our beef stew we had? Well, today we doing leftovers and none left. We're gonna make some beef stew dumplings. And so what I found is dumpling recipes are super simple. It's literally just flour and water. So we're gonna start by getting flour in a bowl, and then we're gonna mix in some lukewarm water, and we're gonna mix it by hand just because it's fun. So we're gonna stir it, and we're gonna slowly add water as we need it over in the mix. And you can see it's getting a little bit more coarse, but what we're looking for is a real dough. So we're gonna keep on mixing and adding water until we get our little dough ball going. All right, so here we almost at the end. Start scraping everything off the side, bringing it all together, mixing it in. Look at that handwork. Do I look like a pro, or do I look like somebody just trying something? All right, so this is a little sticky dough, so we're gonna just add a little bit more flour just to have it a little bit less sticky. Make a good round dough ball. And there we go. So now we're gonna cover that baby up with some plastic. And then we just gonna sit it over to the side so it can basically proof out on the counter. All right, while that's going on, we're gonna bring over our leftover beef stew, and we're gonna pull everything out to juice. So using the spider, just gonna put it all over into a bowl. Once we get that out, then we're gonna go in and we're gonna get all our meat chunks out, and we're separating that from the vegetables. Now what we're gonna do here, we just gonna mince up our beef meats. So once we got them all out, which you can see it ain't many, we just gonna go through and we're gonna just keep cutting. Cut, and cut some more until it look like some real minced meat. And there we go. Now, as for everything in the bowl, we got a masher. We just gonna mash everything together and make this nice thick paste type substance. Took a little work, took a little time. So you still need a little bit of juice. So don't drain everything off of it, but the majority of it to make this paste type thing. Once that's done, then we're gonna add our minced meat back over in. And we're gonna mix all that together. All right, coming back to our dumpling dough. We're gonna go ahead and get that out the bowl onto a little flour counter or flour surface. You ain't gotta be a counter, be a cutting board, whatever you want to do it on. So just rolling it outside in it, and we're gonna start breaking it off into small pieces. And then we just gonna take a rolling pin tool. First, we're gonna start flattening it out with our hand, pressing and spinning and pulling like we some real pros. And once we got a little circle started, just gonna start rolling with the rolling pin. So turning and rolling. After a while, we get to this point right here. And just set it to the side, and we just continue that same process over and over and over again until you end up with this nice little flappy stack of dumpling wrappers. Now the next part, we just got a little water in the bottom of this pan right here. Gonna turn on some medium heat. Now with our dumpling wrappers, you see this? They were sticking together. I should have put some flour in between it or some parchment paper or something like that because they started sticking together. And you'll see here later, I ended up having to roll them things out again. But right now we're gonna take our minced mixture over into this first dumpling that did come off a little bit well. And we just gonna close it up, fold it over, pinching it together. And I was doing different shapes between these ones like the little wrap balls, and then the other ones, some other ones like the empanada looking type thing. Please don't be offended for me calling them empanadas, but that's what they remind me of. So yeah, so we got our ball dumpling over there, and now we're gonna make our, I guess, folded and pressed dumpling. You see me struggling to get these things apart. And you can see, look at that. Look. So yeah, that sucked. So what I ended up having to do was take it apart again, piece by piece, to press it out with a hand, then roll it out with a pen, all over again. So basically did this process twice, which possibly made the dumplings a little bit more rough, tough to chew. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So same process. Once you got it rolled out, we got it filled up with our minced meat. And like I said, some I balled and twisted, some I just folded over as such. And then you press the edge with your fingers. Do a little twist if you may. And get that finished product to the pan. Now here is now low temp water that we got going on. We just gonna place our dumplings inside of here. I maybe should have used a layer to steam it instead of putting directly on the heat. But either way, we got it filled. Then we covered it with a lid. I think it cooked maybe like 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes or something like that. And then we came back to flip. As you can see, I used none of the correct utensils on today, but I'm just rolling them all over. You can see it sticking a little bit there on the bottom, but it's all good. And then we covered it for like another 5 minutes or so. And then we called them babies done. Came back to get them up out of there. Look at my spoon technique. Look like an amateur. It's all good though. I'm at home cooking. We'll be all right. You try things. All right, so for this next batch, we tried to fry them. So I went down with a little oil, same process, put them down. These only cook for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then came back to flip them over as such, playing with heat. These did feel hotter than the ones that were in water. Then about 2 or 3 minutes later, it was time to remove them babies from the pan. What y'all think? Look at that left side. Do they look like some dumplings to y'all? And then it was time to taste. So on the left, you got the fried one. Where the top, you got the fried one. The one in my hand now is the one that was steamed. So it's got a nice bite, nice chew to it. And you can see the dumpling is still, I don't want to say raw, but still got that little pull to it. Not a huge fan. You will see it even better over here on this fried one. You can see on the side already that it looks a little, what you saw when I bit into it, how that side expanded. It's still a little doughy there. Look at that. I don't know why I flicked it like that. But yeah, you can see I was just pointing out the dough puffing out and stretching out. Wasn't trying to flick no cheeks or nothing. All right, so it was all right in flavor. I thought I'd try to make some type of sauce to go with it. So I just took some more juices from that pot, add some red wine vinegar, a little soy sauce because it's dumplings. And then for some sugar additive, I used the M9 dry rub seasoning. Gave that a little mixy poo. Always taste, especially when you're trying stuff. Give it a taste. So add a little more dry rub, a little more juice. And we tried that sauce on the dumplings. Now, I'm not gonna lie, overall the dumplings were okay. Would I be upset if I went to a restaurant for, let's say me and my wife judge our stuff that we make. Would we be upset if we paid for it in a restaurant? I don't know if I'd be upset, but I definitely wouldn't order it again. But yeah, it was edible. Y'all enjoy that.